So I want to talk about the avoid of the 3 weeks, which we're starting now, because people have a very difficult time with the 3 weeks. People have a very difficult time connecting to the Beis of the Beis HaMikdash, understandably so. It was a long time ago. It's not something that we relate to. And as a result of not being able to connect to the avoid of the 3 weeks, the 3 weeks become for a lot of people very annoying. They're annoying because there's a lot of uncomfortable things that you're required to do for no seeming benefit. A bacher called me up last year, about 3 weeks, I was in the country, and he said, why am I doing this? I'm just paining myself for no point because I'm not mourning over the Beis HaMikdash. And I think it's a question that bothers people on some level, consciously or subconsciously. And it comes from not understanding the avoid of the 3 weeks. So what's the avoid of the 3 weeks? So firstly, it's important to remember that even if a person doesn't manage to tap into the Avelis of Beis HaMikdash during the 3 weeks, the things that Chazal instituted to demonstrate and to display Avelis are an avoida unto themselves, because that alone shows respect for the loss, even if you don't feel it emotionally. A person can have a relative that they're chayav to sit shiva for, that they've never had a relationship with. You still have to sit shiva. Chazal obligated it because it's respect. If it's not mourning, it's respect. Just to mark the fact that a close relative left this world. So all of us, intellectually in the very least, are aware of the fact that Klal Yisrael is not where we're supposed to be, where we're meant to be. And the destruction of the Beis HaMikdash put us into a black hole that we haven't emerged from. And if we don't feel that emotionally, in the very least, we pay homage to it. And we do actions that demonstrate Avelis. That's for starters. I once went to Menachem an older Yid, and he said to us, it's a little awkward because I'm sitting shiva for my older half-sister from my father's first marriage, who lived in Mexico for my father's first marriage, and I didn't really even know. It's not shiva. It's respect. But the real reason that Chazal instituted all those things is because Chazal understood human nature, and they understood that it's very difficult to tap into feelings of sadness and pain for a tzara that doesn't directly relate to us, and it's even harder if we're doing it on a full stomach. You know, try to think about when you're in the middle of eating your steak. Try to think about the people suffering in Africa. There's nothing even to talk about. But if you're having a bad day, you can relate to somebody else's suffering better. So Chazal understood that we can't bring Avelis to you directly, but we can create the environment that's conducive. That if a person wants to reach out and try to relate to the loss, they're in a place that they can do it, because they're not during the 9 days. They're not showered. They're scruffy, they're unshaved, they're not 100% comfortable. We're not eating fleishiks, which for a lot of people is an avelis unto itself. We're not comfortable. And when you're not comfortable, you could start to think outside of your own personal pain and comfort. And you're exactly in the place where you need to be able to try to touch the Beis HaMikdash for a second. But it's even a little deeper than that. Because we know that everything Chazal does, it goes beyond psychological. Everything Chazal instituted creates a reality. That means that when they instituted doing things that are zeichet to the Beis HaMikdash, those things on a spiritual level have the ability to connect you to the Beis HaMikdash. So they're setting you up to be able to develop that emotional connection so that you can feel the loss during the 3 weeks. But it's up to the person to go with it. They're creating all the steps necessary. And the person needs to reach out and touch. Why is it so important for a Jew to mourn over the Beis HaMikdash? If somebody dies who is closely related and you don't feel mourning for them, there's no mitzvah to feel the mourning. You have to do the Shiva, have covered, but you don't have to make yourself feel it. So if I'm a Jew who's living thousands of years after the Churban, and I don't feel the Churban, and I don't feel Avelis, why is it important to make myself feel it? The answer is as follows. There's a fundamental difference in terms of the laws of physical reality and laws of spiritual reality. In the physical world, the only way to be in contact with something is to touch it. You can think about something, you can want something, and that's still not contact. In the spiritual world, it doesn't work that way. The Baal Shem Tov said, where a person's thoughts are, that's where he is. Because who are you? You are a thinking neshama. You're not your body. Your body stays put. But where your mind travels, that's where you are. And you just told me now. I met a Yid in Eish Kodesh who told me, you know, my grandfather was very close to the town of your grandfather. I never even heard of his grandfather. He says, give me his number, call him up. So he told me a few fascinating stories, but one of the things he told me is that my grandfather, of course, stayed in his house all day. He said he was once there, and one of my aunts said to my grandfather, you never go anywhere. My grandfather turned to him and said, she says I don't go anywhere. She says I don't go anywhere. Yeah, he's sitting in his room, but he goes where he wants to go. Where your thoughts are, that's where you are. And that's why in Avodas Hashem, gaguim, yearning for things that are beyond you, is very chashiv. Because if you yearn for something and you want something and your thoughts are on it, there's a certain level of connection that you have to it. And that connection will do two things. Firstly, right now you're already a different person. You're a better person than the guy sitting next to you who's identical to you, but he's not yearning for better things. And in addition, that connection will start to pull you. It's like you threw one of those ropes with one of those grappling hooks. You're still down here, but now you're attached up there, and eventually you'll be pulled up.
Batman?
Huh? This world is just a muscle to the spiritual world, so it's altogether possible. The Beis HaMikdash, its physical manifestation is gone. But we all know what Rashi tells us in Chumash, the Beis HaMikdash Shel Mata corresponds to the Beis HaMikdash Shel Ma'ala, was channeling from the Beis HaMikdash Shel Ma'ala. The Beis HaMikdash Shel Ma'ala is still Chai V'Kayim. If a person's yearning for the Beis HaMikdash, they're connected to the Beis HaMikdash, and they're getting chiyas from the Beis HaMikdash even today. And Klal Yisrael needs a Beis HaMikdash. There's a reason why we were given a Beis HaMikdash. And we need to stay connected to it even though we don't have it. And just like every yontiv that we're given comes once a year and focuses on one aspect of Avodas Hashem, and you're koineh for the year, these 3 weeks are the times that were given to us by Chazal that are mesugel to tap into our connection to the Beis HaMikdash, to wake it up, to wake up the Avelis. And when you wake it up and you start to mourn and to miss, and it's two things. It's missing the past and it's yearning for the rebuilding. It's all one. It's yearning for Mashiach. So then the 3 weeks become about Beis HaMikdash, about Mashiach. And you walk out rejuvenated. People think that these days are sad. They're not sad. The sadness rejuvenates. You know, when people lose somebody, they spend the whole shiva talking about that person. It's therapeutic. Every year on the yard site, they like to talk about the person because it renews their connection with this person that they will never see again till Mashiach comes. it's the same way with us. We go a whole year, we don't think too much about Mashiach. And that's the way it's on purpose. It's on purpose that Klal Yisrael doesn't focus extra hard on Mashiach a whole year, because there's a lot of danger that can come from that. But there's a one time a year, the 3 weeks that are dedicated to that, the mourning what was lost and yearning, gaguim, for Mashiach to come and get back to it. And when a person does it, he walks out like renewed, connected, feels connected to it. And that lasts him for the year. And when you're connected to the Beis HaMikdash, you receive chiyas and sustenance from the Beis HaMikdash all year, and sustenance from Mashiach and from Geula. And we all need Geula. We all need so much Geula in our lives. So how do we awaken the feelings of Avelis in a realistic way to be able to connect to it? There's many, many levels of yearning for the Beis HaMikdash and in yearning for Mashiach. The starting point, which is the one that's most accessible to us, it's accessible to anybody, and it's very powerful unto itself, is during these 3 weeks, which are Mesugel, it's easier to connect to the Beis HaMikdash during these days, is to just stop and think for a second about all the pain in our lives and in the world and the people around us. We're all old enough here to have experienced a lot of pain in our own lives and to have seen it around us. Loss of loved ones. People are sick. We've seen Simon. We've seen it all. We've seen things that seem so cruel that cause people to have Seikas Lemuna. It's all because of the Hastapan Galus. It's all because we're still in Galus. It's all Hastapan. When Mashiach comes, there's no such thing as suffering ever again. We know people who deal with all sorts of inner issues and anxieties and depression. We know people who have such broken relationships. We know people who were broken by other people and haven't healed. And the answer to it all is Mashiach. I once went to, years ago, I went to a Beis of a teenager who OD'd. So it was a tough shiva call. His brothers were basket cases. You know, it's different than when somebody gets sick and the family gets used to the idea. So one of the brothers told me that the night before he had tried to call the brother. He didn't pick up. The next day he was gone. Phone call never happened. He tried. So he told me that Rabbi Weinberger from here came to Menachem over the day before. And he started to cry to Rabbi Weinberger. Rabbi Weinberger said to him, "You believe in Tchias HaMesim? You know, he's going to come back and return all the phone calls. He will return all the phone calls." A Talmud Rav Hortner told me the only ultimate, Rav Hortner said, the real nechama for loss is Tchias HaMesim. That's it. He said it's all going to come back. That is our nechama for everything we lost in the Beis HaMikdash. It will all come back. So these days are miyuchid to mourning the past, but with that hope that there'll be a Tchias HaMesim. Everything that was lost will be back there. Everything we lost will be back. All the suffering will be rewarded, will be answered up, will be healed. We'll understand it all, we'll understand the benefit of it. All the spiritual struggles that we have, it's all Hester Panam. all the nisyonis, all the nefilas, everything we've done wrong, everything that we're embarrassed about, has to come. And it's a time to be able to be mizbainin on that and to realize how badly we want to get out of the hole that we're in, and to yearn for the Beis HaMikdash, a time when there was Gilui Panim, when Hashem reveals His face, when Hashem shines His face into Klal Yisrael, all darkness flees. It's like shining a flashlight into a dark room. Everything flees. There's no suffering. There's no spiritual suffering. There's no emotional suffering. And the 3 weeks of the avoid of the 3 weeks is to tap into that Avelis. And when you do that, you're connected to the Beis HaMikdash. And when you're connected to the Beis HaMikdash, you're a different person. And it will last you the whole year. A person spends a Tisha B'Av crying. He walks out feeling very, very elevated. You feel very, very elevated. And I think that this is part of what Chazal meant when they said, only somebody who mourns over the Beis HaMikdash will see its consolement. Now, we're all Yotze, because whether we mourn emotionally or not, we demonstrate mourning, and that's enough to be Yotze. But the reason why they're connected is because to the degree that you're mourning, that's how much you're emotionally connected. And to the degree that you're emotionally connected, that's how much of a chilek in the Beis HaMikdash you have, and you will have when Mashiach comes. There's also another fascinating component before we get to the parasha, which is just to bear in mind that the 3 weeks are also, all the Svar HaMikdash will say that the 3 weeks are also a hachana to Tishrei and to Elul and Tishrei, to the Yom Ne'eram. And I think that the reason is very simple. It's very hard for a person to admit to himself that he's not where he's supposed to be. And that's why the Yomei Tshuva are very difficult for people. Because it's very uncomfortable to face your shortcomings. We like to forget about it and brush it under the carpet. It's difficult. The 3 weeks are all about recognizing that Klal Yisrael on a national level is not where they're supposed to be. That's much easier for a person to do. When you get into that headspace, that the Jewish people are not where they're supposed to be, that we have done Chatam that we haven't done Tshuva for, it's easy to segue into thinking, and I'm also not where I need to be. And I also have things I have to fix. And it eases a person into that mode. So the avoid of the 3 weeks is really a hachana also. The Svar HaMikdash would say that the 9 days correspond exactly to the 9 days of Aseret Tshuva after Rosh Hashanah. So it's a hachana for each other. So we're starting the 3 weeks, we're at the beginning. That means nobody here has blown it yet. Usually you only hear the speech at the end, you know.
I mean, we had a whole
By Ne'ilah you hear about how powerful Yom Tov was, huh?
We had a whole day to follow.
Okay, that's 1 out of 21 days, pretty good. So you're at the beginning. It's a time of Sugul to connect to the Beis HaMikdash. Everyone connects in their own way, and it doesn't matter what level. The point is just to yearn. If you yearn, you're a Geholfana. And to know also that this is a chana for the Aseret Tshuva.